Good morning to all of you. In previous lectures, we have discussed regarding the different concepts of biopharmaceutics, the basic consideration regarding the pharmacokinetics. As we know, the durations of the drug therapy, which is ranges from single dose of a drug to relieve a drug taken for relieving the acute conditions like a headache or sometimes we have to take the uh, lifelong for the chronic conditions like hypertension, diabetes and all those things. To optimize the therapy, the drugs which is depends upon the choice for suitable drugs, and secondly the balance between the therapeutics and their toxic effects. We have discussed regarding the various concepts under the biopharmaceutics. We have discussed about the ADME process, we have discussed about the bioavailability, bioequivalence, and impact of this all the parameters or impact of biopharmaceutics on development of the new drug delivery systems. In today's lectures, we'll discuss about the compartmental modeling. So, what exactly compartment modelings are there? So, basically, we know there are a drug movement which is carried out within the body. It's a complex process, means transporting from our transporting drug from the route of administrations to the site of actions, which is a complex process. There are various steps which follows when you are administering the drug through the oral route. So, therefore, the major objective to develop any dosage form is that to generalize and a simple approach to describe or to analyze and to interpret the data which is obtained during the drug deposition studies. Means how the drug is traveled. We have studied pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics. These are the two terms. Pharmacodynamics, that means what drug does to the body, and pharmacokinetics, that means what body does to the drugs. So to analyze them or to predict or to interpret the data which is obtained from this, we can call them as an in vivo process. There are various approaches are there, and these approaches that we have to study it with the help of the different models. So we know we are plotting the graph against the plasma concentrations versus the time, and so that can be satisfactorily explained by we are assuming that the body is a specific compartment. There are various uh, part of the body that are interconnected. We know all the ADME processes. This is the sequential process: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and eliminations. So they are connected with each others, and they are that we have assumed as a single compartment or the multiple compartment, or that compartments are in a series, and whatever the process that they are following and whatever the result they will get, so that we are using for the predicting the data, or that will be helpful for our characterizing the behavior of drug in a patients. Or we can also predict the concentrations of drug in various body fluids uh, with with any dosage regimens. किती dosage regimen ला तुमचं body fluid मध्ये किती concentrations available आहे, that we can also predict with the help of this compartmental modeling. And importantly, we can determine the influence of altered physiologicals or the disease state on a drug: absorption, distribution, metabolism, elimination. So that we'll discuss in later. These are the different applications of compartment modeling. So what is compartment modeling? So in this particular lectures, we'll discuss about what is compartment modeling, what is mathematical modeling, the different classifications or different approaches of pharmacokinetic models, and we are discussing about the classifications of compartment model. And in next lectures, we'll discuss about the open compartment model, one compartment open model, and two compartment open model in details. So this will be the syllabus for your pharmacokinetics, and at the end we'll discuss different pharmacokinetic terms in details, how they are derived, and the different formulas are there. So basically, as I have already discussed, the two major approaches in quantitative study of various kinetic process of drug dispositions in the bodies, that is, first is your model or sorry model approach, and second one model independent approach, which is also called as a non-compartmental analysis. That means the compartmental analysis and non-compartmental analysis. So under the model approach, they are again divided into three models. First is your compartment model, second one physiological model, and third one distributed parameter model. And model independent approaches that we call the non-compartmental analysis. So we are going to discuss all those things. Compartment model again divided into two parts: mammillary models and quaternary model. And physiological models that are again divided into two models, that is perfusion limited model and diffusion limited model. So let's see one by one what exactly includes under these models and what are the different approaches. So in a pharmacokinetic model approaches, uh, uh, in this approach the models are used to describe the change in its drug concentrations in the body within a specific time. So we call it a model, that means it is a hypothesis that employs the mathematical terms to concisely describe the quantitative relationship. That means it is a specific hypothesis that we have assumed this particular model. Now we have studied different types of model in pharmacology also, or to study the various data. We have studied different in vitro or in vivo models also. So what they are? So these are some hypotheses that these will assume as one compartment. This will assume as the second compartment. In simple example, we have studied in the transdermal drug delivery system. We have discussed about the Franz diffusion cell. So there are one compartment, receiver compartment, and donor compartment, which is connected with one membrane. So these are the hypotheses that we are assuming, that this is one is body compartment, this is one is our donor compartment. So they shows the relationship between the how drug is traveled, or how drug is delivered, or how drug is available at that specific conditions. We cannot carry out all the tests or all the processes directly on a human being. So to avoid that, this hypothetical model plays very important roles. So pharmacokinetic models that provides the concise means of expressing mathematically or quantitatively the time course of drug throughout the body, and they compute the meaningful pharmacokinetic parameters. There are various pharmacokinetic parameters are there. There are some independent variables or some dependent variables are there. So independent variables which are not affected by any other parameters like a time, and some independent variable, dependent variables which is depends upon the changes, means plasma drug concentration which is changed depending upon your concentration, blood flow, and all those things. So there are number of pharmacokinetic parameters are there. So like we can say the pharmacokinetic parameters like Cmax, Tmax, means plasma concentrations, peak plasma concentrations are there. Then time of peak concentration, that we call the Tmax, that we all know those terms, and also we know the area under the curve. So all these terms we'll discuss in details in the last lectures. Along with that, some pharmacodynamic terms are also there, like a therapeutic range, therapeutic index, or onset time, durations of action, intensity of action. So that all the pharmacokinetic parameters that we can derive with the help of this specific specific models that we are using. So as I have said, there are three different types of pharmacokinetic models. One is our compartment model, which is also called as a empirical model. Second one, physiological model, and third one, distributed parameter models, which is also called as a realistic models. So let's see one by one what exactly they are. So what are the applications of the pharmacokinetic models? So pharmacokinetic models that these are helpful in characterizing the behavior of drugs in a patients, how the drugs behave with our body. Then which will also helpful in calculating the calculating the optimum dosage regimens for the individual patients. So uh, by the quantitative relationship we can calculate the dose required for the individual patients depending upon the physiological conditions of that patient. So by assuming that suppose this will be happen, what will be the dose we require, means suppose these particular patients which attain the plasma concentrations in that specific time, so how much drug will be required. So uh, we can set the dosage regimen for individual patients. It also helpful for the evaluating the bioequivalence between the different formulations of the same drugs. So uh, basically bioequivalence, that means if a new product is intended to be substitute for the approved medicinal product which are already available in the market, or we call the alternative of that any substance. So the equivalency with this product, that is calculated, or that should be justified. So bioequivalence studies, they are conducted if a risk of inequivalence or a risk of the pharmacotherapeutic failure or clinical safety is there. So equivalence, that means it is a relative term that compares the drug products with respect to the specific characteristics or the functions, or to define sets of standards. So there are several types of equivalence are there, like a chemical equivalence, pharmaceutical equivalence, and bioequivalence. Also therapeutic equivalence are there. So bioequivalence, which denotes that the drug substances in two or more identical dosage forms which reaches the systemic circulation at the same relative rate and at the same relative extent. That is, the plasma concentrations time profile will be identical without significant statistical difference. That is called as the bioequivalence. So evaluating the bioequivalence between the different formulations of the same drug, that can be achieved with the help of these pharmacokinetic models. Also, it will use for determining the influence of altered physiology or disease states on a drug absorption, distribution, metabolism and elimination. That's why that I have already discussed की जे काही डिसीज स्टेट्स आहेत किंवा ज्या काही कंडिशन्स आहेत that will alter the ADME process, basic processes that you can study it with the help of the pharmacokinetic models. Also is explaining the drug interactions that is carried out, also predicting the concentration of the drug in various body fluids with any dosage regimen, predicting the multiple dose concentration curves from the single dose experiments, also evaluating the risk of toxicity with a certain dosage regimens, that also we can achieve, or that also we can find out with the help of pharmacokinetic models. Also we can correlate the plasma drug concentrations with the pharmacological responses, and importantly they are estimating the possibility of drug or metabolite accumulations in a body, how much drug or how much metabolites can be accumulates because of the non-functioning of the specific organs, that we can analyze with the help of this pharmacokinetics model. That's why these pharmacokinetic models are very much important, or they play very important roles to gather the information that we required for the developing any formulations. Now we will discuss about the compartment model, the first type of pharmacokinetic models. This particular compartment models, which is also called as a empirical models. So compartment, it is a group of tissues with a similar blood flow and a drug affinity. A compartment, it is a physiologic or anatomical regions. So we can call it as a compartmental analysis. It is the traditional and most commonly or most widely used approaches to the pharmacokinetic characterizations of the drugs. So these models simply interpolate the relationship, interpolate the experimental data and allow an empirical formula to estimate the drug concentrations within a time. So these only interpolate the experimental data, whatever the experimental data that we have find out from the specific model. There are two types of model that we have discussed in classification, that is the mammillary models and catenary models are there. So mammillary models, that is the most common compartment model which is used in the pharmacokinetics. So basically, with the help of those data, means that experimental data, they allow an empirical formula to estimate the drug concentrations within a time. So like how the drug concentrations we carried out, what are the different pharmacokinetic parameters that can be determined with the help of this particular compartment model. So like suppose you have to determine the rate of release. So by using those compartmental data or the experimental data, we can determine the various terms, some like how VD is derived or how elimination rate constant is derived and all those things. So they are converted, interpolate the experimental data, and they allow the empirical formula to estimate the drug concentrations within a time. So there are different hypotheses are there, since compartmental model, which is the hypothetical in natures. So they are based on a different assumptions. So what are the assumptions of compartmental models? So first assumption is that the body is represented as a series of compartments which is arranged either in a series or a parallel to each other, which communicate reversibly with each other. That means the inflow that is equal to the outflow. That's why they are communicated irreversibly also. Communicated reversibly also means जे तुमचं एका कंपार्टमेंटमधून दुसऱ्या कंपार्टमेंटला जाणार आहे, दॅट द सेम थिंग इट विल बी रिव्हर्स दॅट कंपार्टमेंट टू दिस. So first assumption is that the body is represented as a series of compartments which is arranged in a series or a parallel to each other. The rate of drug movement between the compartment is described by the first order kinetics, that is the entry and exit. The rate of drug movement that is described by the first order kinetics. Now, as I have said, the body is represented as a series of compartments. So each compartment is not a real physiological or anatomical regions, but these are fictitious or virtual one, and they are considered as a tissue or group of tissues that have similar drug distribution characteristics, similar blood flow or similar affinity for that drug. So this assumption is necessary because if every organ or every tissue or body fluid that can get equilibrated with the drug, which is considered as a separate compartment, and the body will comprise of infinite number of compartments, and mathematical descriptions of such model will be too complex. That's why we are assuming that the body which is represented as a series of compartments which is having the similar blood flow or similar affinity. That is the first assumptions that they have made. So within each compartment, the drug is considered to be rapidly and uniformly distributed, and we are assuming that the compartment is well stirred. So the rate of drug movement between the compartments, which is described with the first order kinetics. First order kinetics, that means it is the one whose rate is directly proportional to the concentration of drug under reactions. So we can call it the greater the concentrations, faster the reaction. So it is assumed that the rate of drug movement between the compartment which describe the first order kinetics means the manner in which the concentration of drug which is influence the rate of reactions or the process, it is called the order of reaction. So first order, which is depends upon your concentrations, that means rate that is directly proportional to the concentrations of drug under the specific reactions, that is called the first order reaction. So rate constant are used to represent the rate of entry which in and out or the exit, entry and exit of from the compartment. So a statistical analysis of the plasma concentrations time data is another method used to find out the number of compartments here. So depending upon whether the compartments are arranged parallel or in a series, the compartment models are divided into two parts, that is the mammillary models and catenary models, an open model and a closed model. So we'll discuss one by one, but before that there are some applications of the compartment model. So applications, under the application of the compartment models, so it is a simple and flexible approach and is widely used. It gives a visual representations of various rate processes involved in a drug deposition. It is very useful in predicting the drug concentrations time profile in both normal as well as the pathological conditions, and it is useful in relating the plasma drug level in therapeutic and a toxic effect in the body. Also, its simplicity allows for easy tabulations of volume of distributions, T half and various pharmacokinetic parameters are there. So as I have said, depending upon whether the compartment is arranged parallel or in a series, the compartment models that are classified into four types, that is mammillary models, catenary models, open model and closed model. So first we will discuss about the mammillary models. So mammillary model, this is the most common compartment model used in pharmacokinetics. So it consists one or more peripheral compartments which is connected to the central compartment in a manner similar to the connections of the satellites to the planets. So as we know, they are joined parallel to the central compartment. Now the central compartment, which consists of the plasma, or we call it the compartment 1, which is compartment the plasma and highly perfused tissues like liver, lung, kidneys. So they will rapidly equilibrate with the drugs, and the drug is directly absorbed into this compartment, it is blood. Now the eliminations also occurs from this compartment, since chief organ involved in drug eliminations are liver and kidneys and the highly perfused tissues, and therefore it presumed to be rapidly accessible to the drug in a systemic circulations. So the peripheral compartments or the tissue compartments are those which is having the low vascularity and poor perfusion. So the distribution of the drug to this compartment which is carried out through the blood. Now the movement of drug between the compartment, which defined by the characteristics of the first order rate constants and which is denoted by the K, that we will see later on. So the subscript indicate the directions of the movement. Here we can see this is for the catenary model. So they have given the subscript and all those things. What is first order kinetics? So this will K, Ka, K12, K13, that will represent as a that they are represented the first order rate constant, and K12 is there. K refers to the drug movement from one compartment 1 to the compartment 2, compartment 2 to the compartment 3, that they have given the movement. So likewise they are represented here. Now the number of rate constant which will appears in particular compartment, which is given by R. So R is equal to, for intravenous administrations, R is equal to 2n minus 1, where n is your number of compartment. Okay. So rate constant for a particular compartment which is represented by the R, and R is equal to 2n minus 1, 2n that is stands for n, that is number of compartment. For IV administrations it is 2n minus 1, and for extravascular administration it is only 2. So why it is so, that we'll discuss in detail about when we are discussing about the open model. So this is regarding the mammillary models. Now second, that is the quaternary models. So in these models, the compartments are joined to one another in a series like a compartment of trains. So here we can see, we can observe here compartment 1, 2, 3 are there. So this however not observed physiologically or anatomically, as the various organs are directly linked to the blood compartment. So that's why they are not means we can say this particular quaternary models which is rarely used. So the compartment modeling approaches has several advantages that we already discussed here. It is a flexible approach and is widely used. Basically, the principal use of these approaches is to account for the mass balance of the drug in a plasma, drug in extravascular tissue, and the amount of drug eliminated after its administrations. So also it gives a visual visual representation of the various rate process which is involved in a drug deposition. It shows how many rate constants are necessary to describe this process. It also enables the pharmacokinetics to write differential equations for each of the rate process in order to describe the drug concentration changes in each compartment. Also, it is important in development of the dosage regimen. It is useful in relating the plasma drug levels in therapeutic and toxic effects in the body. Basically, it is particularly used when several therapeutic agents are compared clinically, or drug data comparisons are based on a compartment model, and also it enables the monitoring of drug concentration changes within a time with a limited amount of data, and only plasma concentration data or urinary excretion data is sufficient to get that information. But along with that, there are some disadvantages also. So the compartments and the parameters bears no relationship with the physiological functions or the anatomical structures of the species. So extensive efforts are required in development of exact model that predict or describe correctly the ADME. Also the models is based on a curve fitting of plasma concentration with a complex multi-exponential mathematical equations, and this particular model may varies within a study populations, and basically difficulties generally arises when using model to interpret the differences between the result from the human and the animal experiments. So because of these several drawbacks and the difficulties with the classical compartment modeling, newer approaches have been devised to study the time course of drug in a body. So they are physiological models and non-compartment model. Now the physiological models that are mathematical models describing the drug movement and dispositions in the body based on an organ blood flow and organ space which is penetrated by the drug. So these models are also known as the physiological based pharmacokinetic models, PBPK models. So they are drawn on the basis of known anatomic and physiological data, and thus present more realistic pictures of the drug dispositions. Means so the number of compartments to be included in this model depends upon the dispositions characteristics of the drugs. So suppose organs or tissues such as bones that have no drug penetrations, so they are excluded, since each organ tissue with the mathematical equations make the model complex. Tissue with the similar perfusion properties are grouped into single compartments. Now, like a liver or lungs or brain, they are grouped as a rapidly equilibrating tissues, RATs, while muscles and some adipose tissues where slowly absorptions will be occurs, which are classified under the slow equilibrating tissues. So models that are elaborated on the basis of known anatomy and physiology of human and other animals and incorporate the physiologicals, anatomicals and the physiochemical data. So the rate of drug which is carried to the tissues or a tissue organ or the tissue drug uptake, which is dependent upon first thing rate of blood flow to the organ, and second one, that is the tissue blood partition coefficient or diffusion coefficient of the drug that governs its tissue permeability. So according to the physiological models, they are further categorized into two types. First is blood flow rate limiting model, and second one, that is a membrane permeation rate limited models, and third one, that is the physiological pharmacokinetic models with a binding. So blood flow related models or the blood flow limited models, so these models are more popular and commonly used than the membrane limited models, because and also it is based on the assumptions that the drug movements within a body regions is much more rapid than its rate of delivery to that region by the perfusing blood. So these models are therefore also called as a perfusion rate limiting models. We have seen in classifications under the classifications of physiological models, perfusion rate limiting models, and second one, that is diffusion limited models. So the assumptions is however applicable only to the highly membrane permeable drugs that are low molecular weight, poorly ionized and highly lipophilic drugs are there. So this model that is only applicable for those drugs. Second, that is the membrane limited model or membrane permeation rate limited models are there. So these models that are more complex and applicable to highly polar, ionized and charged drugs, in which the cell membrane act as a barrier for the drugs. So also they are called as a diffusion limited models. So due to the time lag in equilibrations between the blood and a tissue, the equations for these models are very much complicated. So physiological models, they are that having the several advantages. So they are ideally provide an exact descriptions of the time course of the drug concentrations in any organs. It also able to provide the greater insight to the drug distributions in a body. Also parameters of these models which corresponds to the actual physiological and anatomical measures. Also introduce the possibility of animal scale up, which will provide a rational basis for the correlation with drug data among the animal species. Also the data fitting in not required is not required, since drug concentration in various body regions can be predicted on the basis of organs or the tissue size. Also it influences the altered physiology or pathology on a drug dispositions. So that can be easily predicted from the change in various pharmacokinetic parameters, and mechanisms of ADME of drug can be easily explained by these particular models. But along with that, there are some disadvantages also, which there is a greater requirements of in vitro in vivo data, statistical evaluations of uncertainty and variability, which is more challenging, and importantly model development and implementations require the appropriate expertise, because monitoring of drug concentrations in body is difficult, since exhaustive data is required. Also the number of data points is less than the pharmacokinetic parameters to be accessed. But when you are comparing the compartment modeling with the physiological modeling, there are various points that we have to compare. First thing, compartment modeling, which is the hypothetical approach, or we can say the empirical approach. So there is no relations with real physiology or anatomy. But in a physiological modeling, there is a realistic approaches, since it is based on physiological and anatomical informations. Compartmental modeling experimentally simple and flexible approaches as per as data collections and data collection concern. But here, as just now we have discussed, it is difficult to collect the exhaustive data collections. Also, compartmental modeling, the mechanisms of drugs ADME, which is not explained under the compartment modeling, but in physiological modeling it is easy to explain the drugs ADME mechanisms. Also, mathematical treatment is straightforward under the physiological modeling, but here the complex multi-exponential mathematical treatment is necessary for the curve fitting. But the compartment modeling, which is easy to monitor time course of drug in a body, and the physiological modeling, which is exhaustive data is required to monitor time course of the drug in a body. So this is the comparison between the compartment modeling and the physiological modeling. Then the mathematical models are there. So mathematical models, a model is a mathematical description of the biological system and used to express the quantitative relationship. So mathematical models are collection of mathematical quantities, operations and relations together with their definitions, and they must be realistic and practical. A model is a hypothesis that employs the mathematical terms to concisely describe the relationships. So what are the qualities of the mathematical models? The validity, it should have the practical applicability and should be valuable in describing the events, which is chosen accurately with the high precision. Then predictions ability uh, means the models predict the quantitative as well as the qualitative changes in these parameters, that are rate constant and half-life of the drugs. Compatibility is there and consistency of results. So reproducibility is very much important in a mathematical model. So these are the different types of models that we are using for the pharmacokinetic purpose. Now the last one, that is the non-compartmental analysis. So the non-compartmental analysis, which is also called as the model independent method, which does not require the assumptions of specific compartment. So this method is however based on the assumptions that the drug or metabolites which follows the linear kinetics, and on the basis of that this can be applied to any compartment model. So the non-compartment approaches based on the statistical movement theory and involves the collections of experimental data which is following a single dose of the drug. So this particular non-compartmental analysis is based on the statistical movements theory and involves the collections of experimental data which is following a single dose of the drug. So if we consider the time course of the drug concentrations in a plasma as a statistical disturbance curves, then MRT, that is equal to AUMC divided by AUC, where MRT, that is mean by your mean residence time, which is equal to area under the first movement curve divided by area under the zero movement curve. So area under the first movement curve, which can be obtained from the plot of the product of plasma drug concentrations versus time from 0 to infinity, and AUC, area under curve, which is obtained from the plot of plasma drug concentration versus time from the 0 to infinity. So practically AUMC and AUC that can be calculated from the respective graphs by the trapezoidal rule. So that we will discuss in detail about what is trapezoidal rule and what is AUMC or what is AUC in detail when we have studied the pharmacokinetic parameters in details. So the applications of the non-compartmental techniques that includes, it is widely used to estimate the important pharmacokinetic parameters like viability, clearance and apparent volume of distributions, and the method is also useful in determining the half-life, rate of absorptions and first order absorption rate constant of the drug. So basically all those pharmacokinetic data that can be derived with the help of these non-compartmental techniques. So the advantages of non-compartmental techniques that includes easy of derivations of pharmacokinetic parameters by the simple algebraic equations are there. Detailed descriptions of the drug dispositions characteristics is not required, but along with that there are some disadvantages. This method is not adequately treat non-linear cases, and mostly it provides the limited information regarding the plasma drug concentration time profile. So this is all regarding the introduction to the different physiological models, different pharmacokinetic models. In next lectures, we'll discuss about the open compartment, one compartment open model for the IV and extravascular tissues. So we'll stop here. We'll conclude the next remaining part in a next lecture. Thank you.